Welcome into the Moi Ploy Boys Dynasty Podcast, the greatest podcast that you didn't want or ask for. And now introducing your hosts, Jake the Gluten-Free Harris and Peter Cheater Pigoo Hot Sizzle O'Donnell.
What's up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children act like men who act like children of all ages. The Missouri Aquarium Society proudly presents to you the greatest podcast that you did not want or ask for, the Moi Ploy. It's your boy Jake, the Gluten-Free Harris. Welcome in. We have got some fantastic playoff race going on and some fantastic trades that have been going down. I love Dynasty trades. My favorite thing in Dynasty Leagues is the trade. Sorry about the crappy mic. I'm doing this real quick and dirty. It's 1:30 a.m. and I'm trying to go to bed. All right, so running down the standings, we've got two teams at 9-3. Tom, Eddie, guaranteed in. Every single other team except for myself and Rich are on the bubble. And Peter, I'm pretty sure Hot Sizzle is mathematically eliminated. Not technically, but in our hearts, he's eliminated. All right. We have Jim with the best tiebreakers of the 7-5 club. He is pretty much guaranteed to go in unless he loses out and both Brett and Ray win out. Then his fate goes into the hands of Jordan and Juan. Both of them would have to lose out as well. And if those two lose out, if Jordan and Juan lose out and Brett and Ray win out, Jim would actually miss the playoffs, even with his great situation. Now, Juan is in the same boat, except he doesn't have quite as good of a tiebreak as Jim, so he would have to surpass Jim. J-Tall, another 7-5 team, great spot. However, he is actually behind in points from Brett and Ray. That means that Brett and not behind Ray, just behind Brett. He's behind in points 4 from Brett, which means that if Brett can get a couple wins together, he could bump Jordan down and have Ray be the one who pushes Jordan out of the playoffs instead of Ray pushing Brett out of the playoffs. Now, what's interesting is Brett and Ray are actually fighting for the last playoff spot in the redraft league as well. So these two have developed an early and bitter rivalry. We've got, let's take a look at the path to the playoffs here, this upcoming week's matchups. We have got Tom versus myself, irrelevant. Juan versus Eddie, hyper relevant. Juan still hoarding those first round picks. He's not willing to push the chips in yet. We'll see how he feels if he makes the playoffs. Other teams are starting to push chips towards the center. This is time to buy, and Rich has shown that he is selling. I've shown that I'm selling. Everyone else is in a buyer's market. Peter doesn't seem to be selling anything, even though he is clearly not going to make the playoffs this year. Does he have anything to buy? Like Brandon Ayuk would be something that you could probably buy off him. He's probably going to make you pay through the nose for Matthew Stafford or Russell Wilson, neither of whom are really worth anything, to be honest. And if there's a playoff team that needs their contributions, well, you're probably not going to win the championship, to be frank. Raheem Mostert, if he comes back, that would be someone I'd be looking to buy off of him. He'll probably try and bend you over for him, though. Chase Claypool's nothing. Elijah Moore's nothing. Cooper Kupp, injured reserve still, probably for the rest of the season. Yeah, there's really nothing that is... He doesn't have any win-now assets that are really desirable. All right. So, what was I talking about? I forget. But then we've got Juan and Eddie. We're talking about buying and selling because I was talking about Juan's team. That's how I got derailed. Then we have another very interesting matchup between Jim and Brett. Brett desperately needs to win this game to hold Ray off because Ray has a pretty easy matchup against Peter. Then Jordan gets the fairly easy matchup against Rich. So by the end of next week, we are likely looking Jordan 8-5 guaranteed in the playoffs. Then we're looking Ray likely, not nearly as likely as Jordan's win. Ray is likely going to win over Peter to move to 7-6. And when he does that, he will surpass Brett. Brett, sitting at 6-6, has got oops, what did I do? Brett really needs to win. Oh no, what have I done? I lost my spot here. One moment here, folks. Technical error. Technically, it's my error, but we're not going to talk about that. All right, and we're back. Okay, cool. So Jordan is going to go to 8-5. Ray's probably going to go to 7-6. And either Jim is going to fall down and join him at 7-6, and Brett is going to be 7-6, which would make for Ray, Jim, and Brett all 7-6. Potentially Juan as well if he falls to Eddie. That would be 4 teams sitting there on the bubble at 7-6 with Jordan guaranteed into the playoffs and only 1 week after that to play. At that point, any of those teams could be the one that gets bumped. Because in week 14, if that's the situation, in week 14, all those teams that need to win end up winning in week 14 and week 13. Then in week 14, we have an irrelevant game, myself versus Eddie. Then Juan has to play the Iceman to get into the playoffs. That is a difficult matchup. Tom's team has been rolling all year long. I believe he just recently made an acquisition to make it just a little bit stronger of CD Lamb. Yeah. Then we've got Jordan, J. Chaw 1988, probably born in the mid-90s. J. Chaw here at 8-5 is going to be going up against Jim, potentially 7-6. Another difficult matchup for each of these teams here. I believe Jim will have a couple of players on bye. Aaron Jones will be on bye. Chris Olave will be on bye. Taylor Heineke, Aaron Rodgers. I don't even know if he has a second quarterback to start. Jared Goff. He'll have Jared Goff as long as Goff isn't injured. That'll be his only starting quarterback option in that week. So pray to God, Jim, that Jared Goff doesn't go down, because you might miss the playoffs if that's the case. Then we have got Ray. Ray has got excuse me. Oh man. Ray has got his matchup against Rich. So Ray is definitely going to be going to 8-6 if he wins in week 13, because he's pretty much guaranteed a win over Rich, who is throwing in the towel for the season. And then Brett has a fairly easy walkover win against Peter to move to 8-6 as well. So that would set up Brett to be 8-6, Ray to be 8-6, Jordan to potentially be 9-5, and Jim to potentially be 7-7, Juan to potentially be 7-7. So Jim and Juan both have the toughest schedules from here on out. And Brett and Ray's got 2 pretty easy wins coming up, so he's very likely to get to 8-6. Brett is likely to get to at least 7-7. Juan, we'll see, and Jim, we'll see. I think it's a very, very interesting. There's a lot of things could happen here. Some teams that should not miss the playoffs may end up missing, or one team that should not miss the playoffs is likely to end up missing the playoffs. And a team that does not deserve to be in the playoffs might be sneaking in to make the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, man, it's a small sample size, one and done. Anything can happen. So with that, I will leave you guys. We'll discuss these huge trades that went down today. I think Ray was in on almost all of them. It was Ray and Brett, then Ray and Juan, then myself and Ray, and then it was Jordan and Rich. So it was a very fun day. I was thrilled, so excited. I'm getting lower and lower in my chair. I was so excited about today. It was such a fun day to see all those trades coming in and to be talking trades with all you guys. I will catch y'all in the next one. Thanks for listening. Don't know why you do, but I have fun doing it for you. Later.